Okay, so we have this Giottos lens cleaning kit. This is just a basic kit. It does have some very nice tools in here. I like the bigger brush, that's nice. But the main things you're going to see in a kit are typically some kind of lens cleaning solution, Q-tips, really any Q-tip will work fine. Sometimes some of the nicer ones will have a lens cleaning cloth. These are very nice if you can get a good one. This is a blower, so you can blow stuff off. I'm not a huge fan of this, it's kind of big. I like the brush better. When cleaning the actual front of the lens, we're not talking about a filter, when you're actually cleaning the lens element itself, I don't like to apply liquid directly onto the lens, just because I'm worried about it getting into the camera, getting in. This is a push-pull lens, I don't want it to get inside, I don't want to mess with anything that may damage the camera. So you can buy something called a microfibre cloth. This runs about $10 to $15 for a good one. And the beauty of these guys is that they're super clean when you get them. So right out of the container, you can use them. But there's something about the actual material itself that is kind of pulls any debris or sticky grime on your lens. When you're done using this, you can wash it by hand. I've actually thrown mine into the wash with my clothing, and they come out and you can use them over and over again. Definitely a very handy thing to have. Okay, it's time to talk about the lens pens. This is actually the first video I've done on the lens pens, and I do like them. The lens pens, if you buy them in a kit, you're going to get a couple of them, 2 or 3, and there's a reason why this is a good thing. I'll be pointing out in a second. Now, any good lens pen will have 2 parts to it. The first is a retractable brush, which comes in handy for brushing things off the lens, just general cleaning like I did in the bathtub. But the reason why you want these guys is for the rubber carbon tips. There's some sort of a carbon powder in there. I don't really know what it is. And this tip is really, really sensitive and great for cleaning expensive glass like an L lens. I don't use these on the front of the lenses as much, but the 2 places I do like to use them is on the viewfinder in the back and also on the inside of the lens, which I will be showing you in just a second. The brush, like a small brush like this, would be used to clean something like the viewfinder. So you can see in the back of this 7D, wow, this is really dirty. The idea is that you would take this lens brush and kind of clean this off. I prefer the microfiber cloth, but these are pretty nice because they do seem to work. But I would recommend trying to find a good deal on them. This particular set was about $25. Okay, now this guy, this eyepiece is pretty dirty. I'm going to wash this by hand with soap and water, just like I did with the UV filters, so that's not a big deal. There are quite a few places on this camera that are pretty much filthy. Q-tips are great. If I have a cleaning solution that I'm going to be putting onto the camera itself, the best way to do this is to take the solution and just spray a little bit into the cap. The reason why you want to do this is if you spray it up here, it will get onto the camera. So I have some solution here. Just dip the Q-tip, a clean Q-tip into it, and I'm going to bring this along all the edges, anywhere that there's dirt and grime, and I'm going to gently kind of clean this off. So any grooves, anything that has dirt, a lot of these areas in here get really, really dirty. You can kind of see. If it doesn't dry very quick, you can take the back end and kind of follow up with it. By the time you get done with these things, they should look brand new, unless you've been really rough on it. So I'm actually cleaning. You're going to get a lot of dirt and dust inside the flash area. When I've used the Q-tip up, I do not dip it back in here. I get another Q-tip, and it's fresh and clean, and I start over. Another part of cleaning your lenses that you're going to have to consider is the rubber rings, especially on the higher end L lenses, is that if you have any kind of dirt or perspiration on your hands and you're touching the rubber grips, they get this white residue that makes them look like they're just really old and abused, and it doesn't look good at all. The best way to clean that residue off, I've found, is Armor All. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to take a little bit of Armor All, spray it into a cap. We're going to take a clean Q-tip, dip it in. But what I do is I take that Armor All and I kind of rub it with the grooves, all along the grooves. This is essentially cleaning up that rubber. I usually do it in 90-degree sections, so four Q-tips will clean 1 ring. This is going to make your lens look brand new when you do this. It's really pretty amazing. At this point, I want to clean the rest of this lens, and the only part of it that I haven't cleaned is on the inside. So I like to minimize the amount of exposure time between lenses and camera bodies and whatnot. So we're just going to set this aside for now. And we're going to take a look at the back part of the lens. Something I really do like about the pen kit that you get, if you decide to get one, is they give you two really big ones. The inside of your lenses, for the most part, are going to be relatively clean, but occasionally you're going to get some stuff in there. So I like to have one pen for the inside of the lens and one pen for the outside of the lens. So this actually has a few little teeny particles on here. I definitely don't like putting anything wet on the back of the camera because we have these electrical contacts. But that's pretty much it. You're essentially just wiping off any dirt or grime, and pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Okay, now something that I'm looking at here, we've been on the beach shooting for several days now, and I can see some sand on the inside of the weather sealing. So this L lens, most L lenses will have some type of a rubber ring that kind of keeps dirt out. And again, I don't like spraying things onto the lens, but there is a way to recondition and refinish this rubber stuff. You're gonna do it with Armor All, just a little teeny tiny bit, and we're gonna wipe that dirt out of there. We don't want that dirt inside of the lens at all, and immediately dry it. So I'm gonna go all the way around this ring. There's quite a bit of grime in here, surprisingly, and I do not want that. I don't want that getting inside the camera body or the sensor itself. Make sure that you really kind of clean it well. I wouldn't even touch these gold contacts if you could help it. But that's how you clean the weather seal. And I think that's it with the lens. I think we've done everything here on the lens. Okay, so we've got two UV filters. You can kind of see them right here. They're pretty dirty. And I have a circular polarizer. This runs about $150. This is one I actually really care about, and I want to keep it nice and clean. So what I do is I get just a little bit of detergent, dish detergent, and just hand wash these guys. You don't want to have like a crazy amount of soap on there, just enough to kind of wipe everything off, clean everything off. It's a nice one. Okay, we want to rinse off all the soap best we can. Now there's a few ways to dry these. You can dry them with a clean towel. There's a problem with this though, and the problem is that sometimes if the towel has any dirt in it at all, it gets streaky and doesn't look good. If you don't have a clean towel, sometimes you can shake them off and kind of set them against the wall to dry. Or if you've washed your filters and you kind of need, sometimes there'll be a little teeny bit of water around the edges, and you want to make sure that's dry before you put them back onto your camera. The circular polarizer, it's easier to get water in there because there's an actual groove that this rotates around, so you definitely want to make sure that this is all dried and taken care of.